All right, let's talk about Ripple and XRP. Man, what a name. It's one of those projects that really gets people fired up, right? But look, after a wild few years, including this massive legal battle, what's the actual story today? We're gonna dig in and figure out if XRP is still something you should be keeping an eye on in 2025.
So first things first, you gotta understand, this is not some new flashy coin that just popped up. Nope, XRP has been a top dog, a mainstay in the top ranks by market cap for over a decade. In crypto years, that's like ancient history. Seriously.
And that's the weird thing, right? From day one, Ripple has had this split personality. On one side, you've got the banks. They kind of love it because it's designed to work with them, the big financial institutions. But then on the other side, you have the crypto purists, and they absolutely hate it for that exact same reason. They see it as a total sellout. So, which is it? Is this some revolutionary tool for finance? Or is it just a boring old fintech company playing dress up in a crypto costume? Well, to get to the bottom of it, we've got to look at what Ripple was actually built to do, the epic fight it just survived, and where the heck it's going next.
Okay, so to really get what Ripple is today, we have to rewind the clock. Let's go back to its original promise, the idea that made it so interesting and so controversial.
Think back to 2012. Ripple zeroed in on this massive headache in global finance, moving big money across borders. I mean, you and I can zip $100 to a friend overseas with an app, no problem. But for banks, for corporations moving millions or billions, that system was, and honestly still is, painfully slow and super expensive. That's the exact problem Ripple set out to fix. And here's their big idea for how to fix it. The XRP token itself. It's meant to be what they call a bridge asset. The concept is actually pretty simple. Instead of a bank in, say, Japan, trying to find a complicated path to send money to a bank in Brazil, they both just swap their local currency into XRP for a couple of seconds and then right back out into the other currency on the other side. Boom. It's supposed to be this totally neutral, lightning-fast middleman. Okay, that sounds pretty practical, right? A straightforward solution to a real problem. So why has Ripple been at the center of so much controversy for a decade? Well, it all comes down to how they built this thing. And this is where the crypto purists just lose their minds. See, unlike Bitcoin, where coins are mined over time, all 100 billion XRP were created on day one. A pre-mine, they call it. The network isn't secured by a decentralized army of miners. It's run by a hand-picked list of trusted validators. And maybe the biggest sin of all, it was designed from the ground up to work with the banks, not overthrow them. To a true believer in decentralization, all of this just screams one thing: centralization.
So, this whole debate was bubbling under the surface for years. But then, in 2020, it didn't just bubble, it exploded. A challenge came along that could have completely wiped Ripple off the map: a huge lawsuit from the US government. Yeah, the SEC came in hot, accusing Ripple of illegally raising over $1 billion by selling XRP, which they argued was an unregistered security. And listen, this wasn't just a slap on the wrist fine. This was an existential threat. The whole company could have gone under. And yet, while they were literally fighting for their life in court, they just kept on building. They even launched a platform for central bank digital currencies in the middle of it all. This whole legal war dragged on for a grueling 4.5 years.
And just to give you an idea of the stakes here, the SEC's opening bid, they wanted $2 billion. A number that big isn't just a penalty, it's a death sentence. It was designed to send a shockwave not just through Ripple, but the entire crypto industry. But after all that fighting, all those years in court, the final number was, well, let's just say it was a little different. The settlement landed around $125 million. Now think about that. Going from a $2 billion threat that could end your company down to that's not just surviving, that's a huge win. And it gave Ripple something they'd been craving for years: legal clarity. So the war is basically over. Ripple survived. The big question is, what's next? Now that the lawsuit is pretty much in the rearview mirror, the company is finally shifting gears from defense to offense. Let's check out their 2025 playbook. And Ripple is not playing around. Their new strategy is super aggressive, and it's basically got three parts. One, they're going on a shopping spree, prioritizing buying other companies instead of going for an IPO. Two, they're doubling down on what they do best, rolling out new products for big enterprise clients. And three, they're making a big push into two of the hottest areas in crypto right now, institutional DeFi and stablecoins. And when I say they're not messing around with acquisitions, I mean it. Check this out. In early 2025, they dropped a cool $1.25 billion to buy a company called Hidden Road. That's a prime brokerage firm for big money institutional clients. A move like that screams that they are dead serious about being the go-to place for the big fish in finance. And that massive acquisition is just part of this story. They're also launching their own stablecoin, which they're calling RLUSD. And they have this crazy ambitious goal of making it a top 5 player in the space. They're also throwing their weight behind getting a spot XRP ETF approved. And they're building out key infrastructure, like what they call a permissioned decentralized exchange. You can think of it like a private, VIP-only club for institutions to trade assets. Again, it's all part of their master plan. Cater to traditional finance, don't try to replace it. All right. This is the part you've all been waiting for, the big question. With all this good news, the legal win, the acquisitions, the new products, does this mean the price of XRP is about to go to the moon? Well, it's complicated. And honestly, you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from Ripple's own CTO, David Schwartz, says it all. He's basically saying, hey, Ripple the company is going to do its best for Ripple the company, and token holders shouldn't expect anything different. He's drawing a very clear line in the sand. The company's interests and the token holders' interests, they're not always the same thing. And this is probably the most important thing to get your head around. Owning the XRP token is not the same as owning stock in Ripple. They are two totally different things. The XRP token is a tool, a utility, that bridge asset we talked about. It's meant to be used for transactions, not necessarily held like an investment. The value of Ripple, the private company, that's tied to its profits. The value of XRP, that's a whole other beast, driven by things like adoption and, let's be honest, a whole lot of market speculation. But look, the case for XRP is built on a mind-bogglingly huge opportunity. Every single day, something like $400 billion moves across international borders. Now just imagine if Ripple could grab just one tiny % of that market. That would still be $4 billion flowing through their network every single day. The potential scale here is just massive. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. Even if they get that huge transaction volume, it doesn't automatically mean the price of XRP skyrockets. Why not? Well, because the price is also affected by a ton of other things: speculation, overall market mood, and one really big one: supply. Ripple, the company, holds billions and billions of XRP in escrow, and they sell it off on a regular schedule. That creates a constant selling pressure that can really put a damper on any price rally, no matter how good the news is. So where does that leave us? After this whole crazy journey, the controversial start, the near-death experience with the SEC, and now this aggressive new game plan, how should we really think about Ripple? Well, it seems like people fall into one of two camps. Okay, so on one side, you've got the sellout view. These are the people who say Ripple betrayed the whole point of crypto. It's centralized, it cozies up to the banks, it plays by the old boring rules. But then on the other side, you have the survivor view. This camp looks at Ripple and sees a company that's tough, pragmatic, and one of the only projects that has actually gotten real-world adoption. They see it as a necessary bridge connecting the old world of finance with the new one. And at the end of the day, whether you think Ripple is a sellout or a survivor, it all comes down to what you think success even means in the space. Is it all about pure, hardcore decentralization and revolution? Or is it about being pragmatic and actually integrating with the world as it is? So I'll leave you with the same question we started with. After all this, is XRP still worth watching? I think the answer to that is up to you.